Hello, my name is Ben,
And I'm Karen Morrison.
and welcome to the Too Vague Podcast. One word, two hosts, stories, trivia, and video games.
Video games.
Video games! I should say it with a little bit more exuberance. Welcome to the podcast. I've got Karen Morrison from the International Game Developers
Association Foundation.
That's the confusing part. International Game Developers Association Foundation.
Yeah.
I talked to her during our PAX episodes last year, so she has joined us on the show to talk about a word this week. Karen, how are you doing today?
Very well, yes. How about yourself?
I would say I'm moderately neato.
Neato is a great word, too.
No one uses neato anymore.
I know, it's true. I actually do say neato.
Neato?
You found a fellow neato person, yes.
What have you been up to in your life? I mean, what's been going on? We scheduled this around your Argentina trip, right? Is that where you went?
It is.
Where in Argentina?
Buenos Aires.
Very fancy.
Then a town outside Bariloche. That's like the larger town, kind of. It's in Patagonia. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I met the rest of the my day job type of thing with the rest of the team is in Cordoba.
That's outside, you said? Outside Buenos Aires?
Yes, it's more north. It's like a 2-hour flight north of, not even 2 hours. I think it was less than that. It's a drive. It's like an 8-hour drive.
Did you have some time in Buenos Aires just chilling and doing stuff?
It was like 5 days. It was awesome. That place is amazing.
I've never been to South America, but Brazil, it just seems intriguing more than anything else. And then
Definitely.
I don't know if I'd fit in at Buenos Aires. It just seems kind of swanky. Swanky is another word that no one uses anymore.
I feel like you're picking all of my language right now. I also say swanky. I feel like I need to find proof now and send it to you.
I totally believe you. We're in the same Gen X-ish area. I'm early Gen X and you are like on the cusp, right? So,
yeah.
So yeah, of course our lingo will be not dissimilar.
I fall into the good old zennial, that special little space.
The Oregon Trail generation.
Oh, yeah.
Buenos Aires, so you were there. Can you tell us what you were working on? Or is it something? Okay, it's a secret project.
It's our second game. First game was Roots of Pacha. It's a farming sim in the Stone Age.
Yeah. And you worked on that one as well?
Yeah, yes, I did.
What is the company again?
It's Soda Den.
Soda Den.
It's founded by two brothers. One is in San Diego with me, and the other one is in Cordoba.
So you go back and forth between the two.
It's my first time there. We've only worked remotely. So it was really, really cool to go.
Soda Den. It sounds like Japanese, but it's not. Is it Soda Den?
Yes.
Okay. Like the den where you get all your sodas from.
Yes, but it's an anagram for the last name of the brothers.
Interesting.
We use anagrams a lot now because of that. Because I was like, that's so cool. So then I used anagrams throughout the game.
Nice. That's kind of a cool callback kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not quite anagrams, but it reminds me of a story when I used to work at a coffee shop, a well-known coffee shop that rhymes with sucks, I guess. It doesn't, I don't know.
No one knows what it is.
The coffee shop. There was a person with the last name that the first thing I said when I met her was, hey, your last name and my last name share 5 letters. And then she thought that was weird. But it's kind of an anagrammy kind of thing. You're noticing the letters to make different words and stuff.
It's like a remix.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of adventures did you get up to outside of work in Argentina?
I was there for a month. So it was 5 days in Buenos Aires and then 8 days in the town outside Bariloche.
Okay.
So it was like hiking, eating, museums. Yeah, I just love wandering around. Whenever I'm in a foreign country, I love going to the grocery store just because it's so familiar and so different. For example, in Argentina, you weigh your fruit. And that's super normal. And there's like a weigh station that you weigh your own fruit and then you put the sticker on it and you bring it to the front. Learning that is just an interesting experience where you're like, what on earth is that? So like my husband and I went and we saw there's a line with fruit and we kind of figured it out, but we were like, nope. And then we just noped out of it and didn't even try. And it wasn't until I went to Cordoba and then one of the founders of the company picked me up from the airport. And then we ended up going to the grocery store. And I was like, do you weigh the fruits? Because I could just ask him. I mean, and he's like, yeah. Because it's just totally normal. Of course, you weigh the fruit before you bring it up to the front. It's just those little things where I'm like, I don't know why that's so cool to me, but it is.
It's cultural differences. That's kind of my fascination of Tokyo, because there's so much that's similar and there's so much that's completely different.
Oh, yeah.
I have the same approach as you when it comes to visiting new places. It's just kind of like wander around and figure it out and kind of do your camping in a more urban setting as opposed to actual camping.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really awesome. You didn't see the grave of Evita Perón or anything?
Actually, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to the Recoleta Cemetery, and that was so much cooler than I expected it to be, I guess.
Cool in what way?
Well, it's beautiful, but it's kind of just trippy, like in general, thinking about the idea of these families that have owned these structures for a very long time. And that was just kind of strange. And then to see ones that were still used. And then what was really weird are to see the ones that were like dilapidated and then see new ones go up. So that made me think, like, do they just get rid of the dilapidated ones eventually?
Huh.
You know, maybe they do. And I don't know. And it's just like this strange to me because it's not, you know, it's the weighing the vegetables where I'm like, how does this work?
Part of the joy, it's like figuring that stuff out or just planting the seed in your head going, I wonder why this is.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, this is something in our generation we'd have to go to the library for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But now it's a lot easier to just do it on the fly, right?
Oh my gosh. Google Lens is amazing. Like my Spanish is very limited. And I also eat pescatarian. So going to restaurants, I'm like, what on earth is this meat? Like, is it meat? So then I'd use Google Lens and I can tell what the menus were.
Gotcha.
So that was super helpful. It was also helpful in Japan too, because it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably how I would survive there is just with the Google Lens stuff and the Google Translate and whatnot.
And just be nice. And then like everybody was super nice, you know, like if I didn't know, I was like, like.
The only thing I know in Spanish is nadie puede comer 50 huevos, which is no one can eat 50 eggs from Cool Hand Luke.
I know. I was like,
I do know a little, but that's the phrase I learned just to be weird. So anyway, this is kind of an interesting tie-in. There is a song in the Andrew Lloyd Webber did the music. Tim Rice did the lyrics and the rest for the Broadway show Evita. Have you ever seen that, Evita?
No. I feel like I missed out on a lot because there's a line to see the grave. So I was just like, all right. And then just got in the line. So
seeing the grave, but I meant also the Broadway production.
But that's what I mean is I knew nothing realistically about her.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't seen the play, the movie. I just knew there's a song, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Right. And in fact, before you left, I think I made that joke on a text.
Yep.
I was like, are you going to be crying for Evita Perón? This is me just giving you the summary of what I know. She was sort of an entertainer that became more of a political activist. The Broadway production kind of revolves around a narrator named Che that reviews her life and death. She died very young. She died at the age of 33, but she's very well known. I've never seen the movie. There was apparently a movie.
Yeah.
But I never saw that. And I want to say Antonio Banderas was Che in one of the productions. The connection, there's a song sung by various politicians and whatnot called Art of the Possible. That's in that production. That kind of connects to our word this week, which is possibility. But before we get into that, I'm going to tell you what I've been up to. One of the games that I got a review code for was this game called ZOE Begone, developed by Retchi Games and published by PM Studios Incorporated. Do you say Zoe or do you say Zoe when it's spelled that way, Z-O-E?
I guess it depends. Because wouldn't Zoe have the umlaut?
And then also some people, the American, you know, they put the Y at the end or whatever. Like Zoe Deschanel or...
Yeah. I'd say Zoe.
Okay. I seem to remember that you're not 100% arcade, like old school arcade stuff, because that was around the time you were born. But this game, it's kind of a hand-drawn bullet hell shooter with mechanics where you're jumping around. The whole aesthetic, you're going against these enemies that are drawn on a piece of film, like a cell or whatever, and you kind of have to defeat these enemies. But then every once in a while, hands and other implements will intervene and draw enemies. So it's this combination of human interaction on top of this drawn environment. And it's really beautiful looking. I sent you the trailer. Did you have a chance to look at it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is really pretty.
Did you have any initial thoughts? Does that gameplay appeal to you? That bullet hell shooter kind of game?
That's not really my general. I love me some hack and slash or like cozy games. It's like the two extremes. And then like, I don't really, I've wanted to try a bullet hell, but I've played a shmup before because so within the San Diego game dev community, we have someone that like loves shmups and has made a couple. And it's fun because I actually saw someone review his game in the wilds just randomly. I just came across and I was like, no way.
There's overlap. There's a Venn diagram there. Like shmups and bullet hells get lumped together sometimes. But when I think of bullet hells, I think of crazy patterns that you have to dodge and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know if you ever played Returnal. You probably would get a little sick from it. You get motion sick now, I seem to remember, when you play those first-person, third-person shooters.
Yep.
The enemies you come across will shoot sprays of bullets that you have to dodge in different patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
This is sort of the 2D equivalent. As far as the old-school arcade feel of it, it kind of feels like Defender, which was this Williams Electronics game. You're a ship going back and forth, similar to this. Not so much bullet hell, slower bullets were coming at you, but you had to eliminate ships and rescue people from the bottom of the screen. Really high tech back in the day compared to Space Invaders and Pac-Man and all that. But it's probably Williams' most sold game of that time frame. They produced, I believe, 57,000 units of it. And it was a very popular arcade game back in 82. They even had a sequel called Stargate. But anyway, that's the kind of energy I get. But then also ZOE Begone reminds me of this game called Beautiful Joe. That's a 2D platformer side-scrolling game that came out on the GameCube originally that deals with movie things that you can do, like stopping time and splicing all sorts of movie things. This kind of has that feeling to it as well. My thoughts on it? I like the concept. The music is great. The graphics are amazing, but I don't know how to pinpoint it, but there's just something that's missing. And this game is for a lot of people. I know that, but I would rather go play an old school arcade game than play this game. A lot of what you're doing is collecting apples along the way. But yeah, it's really beautiful and well thought out and captures a little bit of that arcade energy. I would recommend at least checking it out for those who like those kind of shoot 'em up, bullet hell shooter kind of things. It's like I said, it's beautiful looking. So that is what I've been playing.
Nice.
Have you been playing anything?
Actually, just started to play Toem.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
I mean, the world, I really like it. The 2D, 3D. I think it's interesting to see it from the 2D. And then when you take the picture, you're in the 3D mode. And I like that mixture. It's very cool. I haven't made it super, super far. But yeah, I was like, I haven't played this. I need to play that.
It's a neat little idea.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to this, sort of, just as far as capturing things on film. Yeah, there's a new game that I'm interested in. I don't know the name of it, but it's kind of a similar concept where you're going through a 3D world with a Game Boy. You're using the Game Boy sort of as a viewer, and you go through like a 2D, 3D thing, but you start in the 3D environment, and then you go do things in the 2D environment with your Game Boy, which seems like it's got a lot of promise as far as creativity and stuff to it. So
interesting. Yeah.
I wish I knew the name. I don't. But we'll talk about it later, I'm sure. Let's get into the word this week, which is the word possibility. Reading from the Oxford Languages Dictionary, possibility is a noun. It's a thing that may happen or be the case. It's the state or fact of being likely or possible, likelihood, a thing that may be chosen or done out of several possible alternatives. And then I think the one that you're most focused on is the unspecified quantities of promising nature and potential. The origin is late Latin, the able to be done portion to Old French and English possible, possibility, late Middle English. The Google Ngram viewer, are you familiar with the Google Ngram viewer?
No.
Oh, okay. So if you look up a word on Google, they've got this little more tab, right? You click on that, and then it gives you a graph of the usage of the word in print over time. So I like looking at that and seeing the trend. And for possibility, it looks like it remains kind of static in print through 1900 from 1800. But then it steadily goes up and it peaks somewhere in the 1970s. And it just, slightly going down, but the usage of words in print. What do you think attributed to that? As technology gets more and more interesting, possibilities in life increase from a statistical standpoint, I think.
That is interesting.
Or it could be the aliens. Who knows?
Yeah, I've never seen this graph. I'm like,
It's an interesting exercise to think about why it increased in print. And it's only in print, mind you.
And why would it go down in the 90s?
It's not quite on a downward trend. It's sort of tapering.
So we have to think about this.
It's a rise of disco.
Is it possible? Is it possible that is it possible that this data could be skewed by maybe they stop logging the books at the certain time, or, is it possible?
One question I have also about this is, they say in print, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean in print? I don't think it's on the web. I just think it's in books is what they do. So
Yeah.
maybe that little taper downward has to do with technology. And we're not writing or using books as much anymore. So therefore, all of that possibility usage comes in the form of electronic and social media communications as opposed to the written word.
So it's not logged or something, and then it goes back up because then they start to count it. Maybe possible.
Yeah, it is. There is a possibility.
I'm just gonna say it so many times.
We should have a counter.
It's possible that I might. Yeah.
What is the first thing that you think of when you think of the word possibility?
To me, it kind of blends in with potential a little bit. I like to think about the dreams and that side of possibility. But then I also think about it in the Schrodinger's cat sort of way.
Okay.
Where it's superposition of everything in that incredibly abstracted way of all things are possible, kind of like the scientific method, right? You can prove things wrong, but you can't really prove things right.
Mm-hmm.
So then at some point, it's always possible until it's not possible.
The diametric sort of opposition of impossibility and possibility. Is it possible versus is it likely?
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, scientifically, we don't know of a way to change the molecular weight of cobalt from 58.9 to something else without changing the structure. I don't know where I got that from, probably Ghostbusters. But anyway, changing a molecular structure or something may not be possible in our universe or whatever, but it could be possible elsewhere. There's a possibility. It's not very likely.
Right.
And the scientific method kind of relies on science as a framework to make these determinations. But when you do that, you also lose a little bit of that whole wonder and creativity and what if or something. I don't know if that's true or not. What are your thoughts?
I don't see it as something that limits, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know, because there's just so much to it. If we're thinking about the nature of reality and as an essence, for example, binary versus supercomputers where it's position. So we would think, well, all these things are not possible because it's ones and zeros. And then suddenly you're like, oh, but we can also have up and down. It's not just right and left. And then becomes this whole other, we discover new possibilities, these different aspects of it, but that doesn't mean we know everything. I don't think science is done, check, we got it all. I don't think at any point we should think that.
It is a knowledge base that's constantly building, so we hope. that is how things advance, right? You're building on or proving or disproving what you know to either clarify or research, look into what is the nature of things. Dare I say, when it comes to creative things, possibilities are sort of endless based on whatever our perceptions are. There's a lot more possible maybe in creative sort of pursuits than scientific pursuits. I'm just saying a whole bunch of stuff and seeing how you respond to it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think they're both are creative pursuits. Like they're just creative applications in different ways.
Creative solutions in science, you need to use some creativity to figure out how you're going to handle a situation.
There's creativity in math. If you are like, oh, well, what if I look at it from this angle and then it changes? And then if you didn't think oh, it's so obvious to look at it from this angle after someone else does it, hindsight is very easy. So I would say like creativity just has many different forms. It's not always drawing.
No. It's a number of things. There was some sort of a thing that I saw on the news about someone who took robotic dogs and put the heads of Elon Musk and all the big people on these dogs, and they were pooping photographs.
What?
Yeah. Just look up robot dogs, Elon Musk on a computer or something, and you'll see it. It's so ridiculous. And then they put the pop artist, Andy Warhol. They've got his head on something, and it's just like
Art Basel. Okay.
Very performance art, kind of rich person art. I mean, I couldn't do that because I can't buy half a dozen robotic dogs. And I think it's less about we want to see how this AI or whatever develops. Maybe there's a scientific piece to it. I saw the video and it seemed like the quote unquote, the artist was interested in how this AI perceives people through its poop, I guess, through the photos that it takes or chooses to take or whatever. It seems to me it's more about the spectacle and less about the statement the art is trying to make and what it actually means.
I agree with the rich people art part.
Are you looking at it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Art Basel is very much like, I don't know how.
Let me just say those heads are so detailed and look almost scary accurate.
Very uncanny valley.
Incredibly. And they captured the blank expressions of Zuckerberg.
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah, just so bizarre. But, I am fascinated by how people come up with us and think about these things. And sometimes the art is about the meaning that the viewer takes from the art more than whatever the person or artist is trying to say. There's kind of a synthesis between the two.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on artistic expression and the art versus the artist?
Well, I think there's a few parts to that to me. Artistic expression I see as just the general desire to create.
Mm-hmm.
As far as separating the art from the artist, I was having a conversation with a friend, and then she and I decided, we're not really fans of people we don't know. We're fans of aspects of people within our industry, for example, like, oh, we really love the work of this person, but it just doesn't occur to us to think about them as like what else they do besides that kind of thing. Like, well, I don't know them. Like if I know them, then maybe I would want to know about their daily routine or whatever. Otherwise, it doesn't seem relevant. Like I don't imagine that copying the same routine of somebody else is going to make the same result.
And that's an interesting thing because as emotional creatures, you have someone who does something horrible but has this body of work. H.P. Lovecraft, he had said some horrible things.
Horrible.
Racism type stuff. And
very.
But there's, I think I mentioned this on a previous show, there is a story I really enjoy being a cat person about how these cats, they were disappearing from the neighborhood and this band of gypsies came through the town. And one of the kids had a kitten. It disappeared, and presumably this scary couple of people who were responsible for cats being killed and abducted and whatnot were the cause. And this little kid did something to move the sky and was mysterious, right? The gypsies left. And then all of the cats disappeared from the town. So they were like, what happened? The next day, all the cats came back and they were all fat and lazy. And they find in this house with this couple that their bones had been all picked clean.
Oh, shoot. Nice.
And
Nice.
that's basically the story, right? So you can connect to something like that. But whenever I think of H.P. Lovecraft, the first thing that comes to mind is all this horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to separate those things, it can be a challenge. And there is an aspect, I think, that may be valid as far as where these things come from. But I mean, yeah, I try to do that, which is what you're saying, which is like you see the art and you go, this is amazing stuff, but you don't know the person. That person can be a wonderful person. That person can be a horrible person.
And for me too, I think in this case in particular, like it's one of those things where it becomes a part of the zeitgeist. The thing that they made is kind of nothing to do with them anymore.
Yeah.
So like so many people have made things within that world and like taking it, like the general cosmic horror into a very interesting place that a lot of people connect with and has nothing to do with that dude that's a total jerk.
Exactly. You don't know what this stuff is going to further inspire. Even things that are quote unquote horrible can inspire you to something that is your own unique perspective and something that's valuable. When people talk about AI, right? AI art. Dispatch, I don't know if you had a chance to, did you ever get into those games back in the day, like Wolf Among Us, the Telltale games, the sort of narrative driven?
I watched, so funny, I watched the whole playthrough of that one. I was like,
of Dispatch?
I don't know. I started to, no, not yet, thankfully, because I want to, I want to play that one. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
But for Wolf Among Us, I started to watch some of it and then I got hooked and just watched the rest of it. So I didn't actually play it, but I whenever it came out or shortly after, I was like, this is so cool.
Dispatch is so wonderfully written and has such natural humor. I would almost rather watch it as a television series.
Oh, interesting.
I'll talk about this on another episode. There are some things that I have about the story, and you can reveal funny bits depending on your choices, and so well acted.
Yeah.
Loved it. But my thought around that is the folks, one of the things that they say is that this is all voice acted. We didn't use any generative AI for the voices. And there was a comment from some head in the company, I'm paraphrasing, about how AI art is for people who aren't creative. Whether that's true or not, you can get inspiration from AI generated images, and it's not any less valid than getting inspiration from nature. It just happens to be that this AI came up with something by way of an algorithm, and you look at that and you're going, oh, okay.
So this relates to something I want to say earlier about separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
One thing that we can say is like we have the ability to support an artist or not support an artist if we choose to purchase that work or give that work attention or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The more we support something, like if we like Lovecraft, I'm more likely to buy a different artist's work in that world because it was inspired, but I don't want to give him money. He's dead, so it'd be difficult to do, but but point being, like if this was a person who's alive now, I probably wouldn't want to give him money, but I would like to give people that are making things within this interesting world money.
Mm-hmm.
So with AI, I would not want to give the people that control AI my money, my attention, my anything, because I don't trust them.
Right.
So it's kind of related to the dogs walking around. I don't think that those people should be in charge of something like AI. And also, like the amount of environmental impact for it is wild.
Oh, gosh, yeah. That and NFTs and crypto coins. No one ever goes into that. Even cloud computing. Where is that energy coming from? You don't know. You have no idea if it's coal or if it's something that's horrible.
Or it's draining. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Mango was getting into the wires. He was getting into the wires. Stop it.
My cat does that all the time. I call them spicy noodles. I'm like, stop biting the spicy noodles.
Oh, those will be spicy if you get through to the core of them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'll get a fur-raising experience.
She's done it many times. I think she likes it. Phone chargers, I had to get the little metal ones.
Oh, boy.
There's like little metal, like it's a braided wire So it's stretchy. So it's basically a coil all around the whole thing because she's destroyed so many.
Oh, okay. Huh.
She likes spicy noodles.
I don't think belittling the thing is necessarily what you want to do, saying people who aren't creative use AI. What I think is it's a cost-cutting measure that people use because it's cheaper than hiring an artist.
Expensive when you think about the rest of the cost.
It's expensive to the environment. I'm sorry?
I would relate it to, okay, so if you're at home and you're making dinner and you have paper plates and like ceramic plates, do you reach for the paper plates every time? Or do you feel like that's wasteful? I tend to go for the, like ceramic plates because I just wash it, right? And I reuse that plate and it's totally fine.
Right.
It's a little bit similar to me. Like the paper plate's easier. I don't have to wash it later. I just throw it away. But to me, that's wasteful and like a bad use of my intention. So that's kind of how I relate it.
Ease of these things, right? Mm-hmm. It's easier to do this stuff with AI and put it in whatever your thing is, but the impact it has, it's kind of like Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park. It's like you were focusing so much on whether or not you could.
Yeah.
That
not sure if you could.
And that has a little bit of overlap with science, right? That's kind of like, you could, but what's the reason?
Totally. Because like even in this case, the people that are in charge of it, that paper plate is also collecting all the information about you and storing it in the trash can. It knows all the things you ate. It knows all the things you're doing. You ask it questions about stuff. You ask it to make things. It knows everything about you. And I do not trust those companies to know everything in that respect. I go through the extra effort to like unclick cookies. Like, why would I tell AI, yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, granted, I do use the Google ecosystem. So like to some degree, I'm aware that I carry a phone around, but at the same time, like the less I can give them my support, my attention, my information, I don't see the benefit of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about something like when you're talking about scripts and writing and implementing things going forward? There is another game that we're going to talk about later with my friend Eric about the word arc. Arc Raiders is the new extraction shooter hotness. They have implemented AI for their vocals, for their NPCs, as I guess a smaller company. What they say is it's very useful for upcoming content because we don't have to schedule all these voice actors. We just scan them in and have the AI do the voices for them. Well, there's no feeling in the voice for me as far as I'm very good at picking up AI voices, just probably because I do a lot of editing.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're using it. They're using it for making it a lot easier to release content. Do the ends justify the means in that case? It's like they're using it for something to make it a lot easier to release more content for your folks who want to play this game. My tendency is to say no, but it's one of those things. It's a cost-cutting measure for them to utilize this, release stuff.
Right. I mean, just think about it as any product. So it's a cost-cutting measure when you're buying a thing, like, you could be getting cheaper plastic in your plastic thing you're buying or cheaper metal in your metal thing. So if you think about it in the very like stark terms of that, they're making this product with a cheaper made thing.
They're buying their steel from China or whatever.
Right. So like when you buy that thing, is that what you want out of the thing that you buy? So I don't know. It's a very like cold way of thinking about it. But like, because the easy answer is like, obviously they should be doing it. Their odds are they could afford to do it.
Right.
Other teams that are large, that make large games still do it. So like, why,
Well, that's the thing too. They didn't expect it to be so popular. There are a lot of people. I mean, there are like 200,000 concurrent users and stuff or across platforms or whatever. At first it made sense, but now they can afford it. Now going, well, it's a hell of a lot cheaper for us to continue using the AI and not use human voices. So it's a slippery slope, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now that they're successful.
And then it goes back to the consumer, because then if the consumer is like, I don't like this thing, I want things made with humans, like I don't want to buy paper plates every day. I want to have plates. I want quality things. Then, we have to look for quality and only buy quality.
Yes. Only vote for quality too.
Only for, yeah. I know. Oh.
This is also a political issue insofar as
Oh, yeah.
the big AI development push by these large companies that are just focused on the money aspect.
Yep.
It's not using these things in a beneficial way. There are a lot of applications of AI that could be beneficial, like mapping the human genome, but we're getting into shaky territory there. But it's like there are things that AI is good at, and we're not focusing so much on that. We're focusing on the sales and the data collection piece of it.
Exactly.
These are all possibilities.
It is possible.
Yeah. But there's also a possibility that people will reject this. At some point, it all becomes sterile. It all becomes fast food. It all becomes...
Yep, exactly.
Sorry, we got kind of down a rabbit hole with that, but it just reminded me where we're going with our conversation, kind of. The thing that I think about with possibility is I sent you a video.
Oh, yeah.
Loris Bainertz has put out these comedy sketches, movies. He works on movies. And he put out this short called The Expert. It kind of started out as he did it as kind of a series, right? Where an engineer, software or otherwise, is asked to do all these things. And it's just in the life of someone who's an IT software engineer kind of person. And it takes place in an office. The one that I sent you, The Expert, can you summarize what it's about in your perspective?
Well, it's these, it's like a corporate business meeting where they are trying to draw 7 red lines, but using things with like invisible and green ink. So, so it's like all these things. They're like, okay, can they be perpendicular? Can all 7 be perpendicular to each other? And that's my favorite line. And it was like, so what is preventing this? And it's like geometry. Like, I thought that was just great. It kind of rings true to me a little bit what we're just saying about like AI and politicalness, that we're not doing politicalness, but like the idea of like lots of yes people that end up around. Like, no, it's totally pop. Yeah, you can make red lines out of blue ink. Why don't you just make red lines out of that blue ink? Like,
and then it gets to a point where he shrugs his shoulders and said, yes, I can inflate this balloon in the shape of a kitten.
like, okay.
No, because cats, not cats.
Yeah,
kittens.
not cats.
Kitten's cute.
Yeah.
Kitten's small. Kitten. But anyway, it's a little bit long. It's like 5-6 minutes. But as far as if you're in a software development industry like I've been, you get a lot of requests about doing things.
Yeah.
And there is this, is it possible? Is it not possible? But then there's also what he did, which I think is another thing. Whether it's possible or not is not the issue. It's compromise.
Yeah.
And I think that illustrates, even if things are not possible, the compromise still has value. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think in that particular, like, I do think if you have a general kind of discussion like that, where it's like, I'm looking for something that's super not possible, but then you have to, like, in a realistic scenario, and you're like, okay, so which is more important? Is it the color or the lines?
Yeah, exactly.
In that thing, you'd actually have to break it down and really come up with okay, so like, it's really the lines is the important part. So if we can, like, whatever, then you know, like, you figure out a way to make it work.
Right.
But if it's in general, that thing where it's like, we need 7 lines with I feel like it was green and
transparent ink. Yeah.
That's just simply not going to happen. And then I think, like, relating that to a different corporate situation where it's like, okay, well, we need to build out this feature in 3 weeks. Is that possible? And they realistically, no.
Right.
Like, it's not possible. So then by saying yes, or coming up with in that scenario, if like the compromise is still not a possible compromise, or it's like, okay, the compromise involves everybody working on the weekend. Okay, so we'll buy pizza.
Crunch.
Yeah. Then there's things where it's like, oh, you kind of, it really, you're not working together. It's just one side getting what it wants at the expense of the other.
Yeah, there is a question there too. It's also the reason. It's like you don't know the reason why. So therefore, your creative solutions are kind of stifled. Why do you need this way specifically? I mean, whether we can do it or not, I know management has promised it, but here's the thing, and here are your alternatives based on what you want it to do, and there's creativity there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this is one of those things where you're coming up with creative solutions to things that look like they're impossible.
Yeah.
But there's also the other side who just wants it done, which reminds me of my father, who was like, I'm a computer guy, and I see that he gets an error in his computer on Windows, and he just shuts down and reboots his computer. And I go, well, don't you want to troubleshoot that and kind of fix it or whatever? And he's like, no, I just want it to do what it does. Yeah. I have problems with my Excel spreadsheets. It gives me an error. I save it, and then I just reboot the computer, and then we're done. I'm like, okay, that's a solution. It's not a long-term solution necessarily, but, some people just want it done. So, yeah, I've had a lot of business experiences with that kind of stuff where you have to navigate that communication piece.
Yeah.
How you can voice your concerns without necessarily making the higher-ups think that you are a detractor in whatever this development thing is. And that's something that I've learned over time in my quote-unquote big boy job or whatever you want to call it, is that you make it very clear what your concerns are, but then you also make it very clear that you will support whatever the thing is that they're doing, because you don't want them to think that you're basically, like they said, it's like, oh, you're naysayer. You're saying it's not possible. Where's your thing? It's like, I will do whatever you want me to do, but here are my concerns. And then we'll just leave it at that.
And that's why, it makes leadership so important, because if you have good leadership, that dialogue is much easier. Where it's like, okay, I'm understanding why they're saying that this is not possible. I'm understanding the wants of this. And then you can actually make that compromise of like, okay, the thing that you're asking for is not possible, but these other things are. That kind of thing is super important with leadership.
Absolutely. Finding good leaders is also kind of difficult, but we're not going to go. Anyway.
Back to politicals.
Politics. Sorry.
Get that out of your throat. Yeah.
I've got a little
politics stuck in your throat.
Yeah, I got a little.
When that happens.
So what I wanted to ask you about that specifically is, do you have any stories like that about interactions in your industry that you've either heard from people or have experienced in what you've been doing, not necessarily with your foundation or with your game company or whatever, just historically?
I know, man. I know that it is a historic thing. I feel incredibly grateful that I have such the Soda Den is amazing. I love working with them. They're very reasonable. The talking it out part is, and we also have different first languages. So they're all in Spanish. So that's their first language. So sometimes that communication can be difficult. So we've learned that we have to talk a lot out. So it's awesome because we do talk a lot about all sorts of things, and they're really open with me, and it's amazing. I am super grateful for that trust. And then the foundation, it's a bunch of do-gooders, so it's amazing. But I have heard I don't want to put anyone out, but there's it's just like anything else. Anything is going to have leadership that thinks they're super smart and that they're the only way that things should go and don't want to listen to anyone else.
Maybe even not know that, but just do what the higher ups tell them to without thinking.
Yeah.
Or it's cost cutting. We're making money here. So whether or not it makes sense is not the focus. That's also bad leadership.
Yeah. And I think the bigger one within at least the games industry, in my knowledge and experience, is a lot of people are very passionate about it. So it's very easy to get those people to go well, we could get this one feature in if we had the time. And then people will just find the time. The crunch thing isn't necessarily always done by leadership, it overtly, but just by saying that, you're kind of giving people, they're oh, well, I want it in there, so I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
And then that burns out. It could turn out badly. There's lots of things where it's kind of well, then plan for it and then tell people that we're planning for it and, that kind of thing.
I had a discussion about crunch with someone where I was explaining what that meant. My thought always goes to mandated by leadership kind of stuff.
That does exist, but a lot of it, especially in the ones that I'm aware of, it tends to be in that respect of you just put in that extra time and you inadvertently burn yourself out. And I do think working with creatives, I would task leadership with being responsible for that, taking responsibility to understand what your creatives are going through and being more aware. Because you could say you don't know, but like it seems to be a problem that happens where people get burned out. So like try and prevent that.
Well, right.
You know, I know you can't completely because you can't control everybody, but you could try and make sure things are scoped to a very reasonable way in the beginning. I don't know.
I also think work-life balance kind of conversations, getting people to think about that. Like, what do you enjoy? What sort of balance can you bring to your work life that will, by relation, should reduce the potential for burnout, I think. Some of my solutions for not getting burnout at work is I go for midnight walks. I go for a walk after work. I work until very late. And I just walk. And that is great for me listening to things that I want to listen to. It's a way to process feelings and emotions. It's a way to get some exercise. And that's kind of one of the things that I've used to de-stress and minimize the possibility for burnout. It's mundane stuff that's the burnout, not the creative stuff. That is a sticky wicket, that whole thing, the problem. Because if you've got one person who's working on a specific project all hours of the morning, that could probably convince others.
Yep, exactly.
Then when it reaches a critical mass...
Well, we're all doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And then management comes to expect that at a certain point.
Yep.
So yeah. I mean, this is kind of a gaming conversation, but we'll get into what you do at the foundation as far as essentially making dreams possible for folks who don't have that opportunity. You said there was you're taking applications for the next, what is the?
We'll start taking applications in February, and it is for marginalized individuals, which is a whole bunch of different things. So like whatever the struggle you've had is a valid struggle, and then you tell us what that struggle is. Because some people are like, they just look at their struggles as like if you're disabled or you are neurodivergent or you are like all these different things. Like there's various struggles that we've all had that is not the normal thing. And that's what the program is really trying to help and find people all over the world. But the thing about it is like you're also you have to write an essay, and we have hundreds of people, like 500, I would say, people that apply. So we have to go through all those applications. So you have to write a really good application. Like I'm a alumni of the program. I was in Velocity in 2020.
Yep.
I was trying to get into games. I joined IGDA, so there's IGDA and IGDA Foundation. I also love IGDA. I'm a part of the local chapter here. I got on the board because I'm also I'm a do-gooder organization for a reason, because I like to get super involved with things. I found out about IGDA, and then at first I was like, well, I shouldn't be on the board. I'm not in games. And they're like, that's ridiculous. You're part of this community. So then I started being an organizer in 2019. And then I wrote my application for the IGDA Foundation saying I've done these different things. I've been trying to get into games. I haven't found my way. And I got accepted. And I was supposed to be sent to GDC. But it was 2020. GDC didn't happen. Little thing called the pandemic that may have shaken some things a bit.
Upset the apple cart.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were put together in an online program. Basically, they made it up on the fly. And I thought that was the coolest thing because it was people from all over the world. We were able to chat for long term. The foundation made what is called the Diverse Developers Fund, and also was called the Prototype Program for a good reason. Underneath the hood, that's what I see it as, Prototype Program. And that's, I feel like, a good representation of it because they did it very quickly and they learned a lot. And then they started with the Virtual Exchange, which is the program that I now run, that the applications will be open in February. So it's like about a month that it's open. So in March as well. And basically you take a part of a 6-week program and you are given a mentor and basically get introduced into games if you are in velocity or velocity. Sorry, I should roll it back a little bit. So there's velocity, which are people coming from outside games trying to get into games.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's scholars, which are people that are in college or whatnot trying to get into games. So they have similar struggles in that they are trying to learn more about the industry, but different because like one might have more leadership experience while students possibly more like game design, game function, like knowledge, but they're trying to get to games. So like it's an interesting mix of people. So they have their own programming.
Okay.
And then there's also next gen leaders, which are people who have been in games for 5 or more years that are trying to advance their career. So they're all together in the same cohort. So there's like cross learning that happens. When in my year, I had no idea who was in what, like because we were just all lumped together, and I was like, "Oh, you've been in games for 6 years. I had no idea." Like just all like so. Then you just learn things from people, and you make friends with people.
So all of these groups are classified after they get accepted, or is this
you apply for it basically? If you are a student, then you apply for scholars. If you are coming from outside games, you apply for velocity. It leads you through it in the application.
Okay.
Next Gen Leaders is the only one that's, pretty specific for if you've been in games for X amount of years. And the program's always evolving and changing as well. Like we want to improve upon it and don't like science we said earlier, like we keep improving on it, like like it's never done, it's never checked off. We made a program and it's done. That's the nice part of it too. Like we're always trying to
constantly improve it,
stay relevant, yeah, exactly, find where holes are and batten down the hatches and all those good metaphors.
I always use postmortem, see what the things happen and then improve. But when you say postmortem, people go, ugh. And it's like no, we make assessments and we think critically about this and then think about how we're going to move forward and make these things more likely to occur and what we want to do and our perspective. So it's not inherently a bad thing, but people just hear postmortem and then just go, ugh. It's kind of like the word moist. No one likes that word. Why? I don't know. It's great for cake.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, what do you want? Not moist cake?
What I always say about moist is okay for cake, not for diapers.
That's true. Mm-mm.
There's a little more X-rated version that I use that I say panties instead of diapers. That's my punk rock showing, is that
right,
that phrase.
Right. Yeah.
So the foundation itself, you make these things possible for those folks. But I also see your involvement in IGDA as a whole. You said you're on the board of that or not?
Yeah. The local chapter. Yes.
The local chapter.
I can't stop. I'm trying.
I'm just trying to stop helping people. Oh,
I know.
It's so annoying being such a do-gooder. I hate it.
I know. We did a demo day because I was like, it'd be so cool if we did a demo day. And then I just did it. Now we're like, we should do this all the time. So I was like, yeah.
Yay,
wait, do I have to do
work.
demo day? Yeah, exactly. Yay, more work.
Yeah. I didn't think about that part. What would happen if it was successful?
Dang it.
But I mean, it's for good. The question I had about the International Game Developers Association, what do they do to make things possible for people in the industry at large? A lot of what I know from what we talked about was they get a lot of support from folks in the industry.
So the two organizations, so the foundation gets a lot of support from people within the industry. And it's really amazing. Like that's who we pull from for like mentorship and like any sort of like, oh, we need someone to look at a resume, give feedback. IGDA itself is a whole bunch of different chapters.
Okay.
So like I'm just San Diego and I know there's chapters all over the world, hence the international part. But the central organization just tries to support the local chapters.
Okay.
So it's a job. I mean, like I know they do other stuff independently as well, but how I see it is they help empower each local chapter to do stuff. So like things like insurance and taxes, we don't have to bother with because it's through the main organization. We just have to make sure that we do a game jam twice a year and it's at a local community college. We just have to contact the main organization and get our like insurance and like, ta-da, they provide that because the college requires it. I don't know how we would do that without them. So like that's super great and a huge value to us as a collective group of people that want to do cool stuff for San Diegans.
So what you're doing there is you're making it possible for people to get involved in the industry? See, that's kind of where I was going with that question, because I know that there's some different supporting things that you do community-based as a part of the IGDA, and that seems like a big one. The focus being exposing people to this art form, this thing that they can get involved with, that people can enjoy.
They do make it possible for us in San Diego to have game jams and mixers that make it possible for people to get together and meet one another.
Okay.
Because for example, when I was trying to get into games, I ended up going to a crossover event that was IGDA and then also a local thing called UX Speakeasy, which was like UX designers, and it was about game UX. So I was like, oh, this is the closest I've ever seen to something related to games. I came from graphic design, so I went to that, and then I was like, I don't know anything. And then two people stood up and were like, oh, the IGDA has mixers every month. And then I was like, and I am not, especially, I don't know, like I'm not typically the person to go and be like, tell me about this. I'm going to show up to something with it. But I did. I went up to them and I was like, tell me about this thing. And then I went, and then people were really cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's just a bunch of nerds. This is fabulous. It was very easy. I'm like, oh, we're all just equally awkward to each other. Wonderful.
Yeah, I was going to say the UX speakeasy sounds like it would be incredibly fascinating or incredibly horrible. It doesn't seem like there'd be a middle ground there. It'd be like user experience. Ugh. But yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so that's one of the events that was put on by not the foundation, right? The one that you went to?
No.
It was the chapter.
Yeah, the local chapter, right? The local chapter.
So local chapter, just summarizing, is more about exposing people to this, the cool stuff?
It's more of like a place to, like if you're someone who wants to develop games, it's a great place to go and meet other people who want to or are developing games. So for us in San Diego, we have a huge, I would like most of it is like student and indies. Mm-hmm. We do have people that are working AAA to show up, but it's kind of, we're like, if you want a community, you must show up to make community. And they're like, okay, so then they do. but I would say that we've cultivated a very friendly vibe because of that.
Yeah.
And then I know other chapters have challenges because they have a little bit that tend to be more like AAA people that have to deal with like corporations and stuff.
But that's where you got to think creatively as far as how do you change your approach based on where you're located, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, some things that work for San Diego aren't going to work for New York.
Right.
If it's about building and fostering the community, you're going to have those challenges and have to approach things in a different way. Mm-hmm. So the possibility in that is networking.
Yes.
Meeting people who are in your industry currently and have different perspectives. That's a possibility as far as attending things events.
Oh, absolutely.
Are they easily accessible on the website? Do you have links to the different chapters and things of that nature that you can look at and see what events are coming up?
It's IGDA.org. Yeah. Yep. So from there, you can find the different chapters.
Okay.
And there's actually a contact form. Like I know San Diego. I actually know LA has it as well. Like I've talked to other chapters. Like if you reach out on the website to your local chapter, it will email them.
Okay.
So somebody will get an email. For us, it goes to all of us, which is interesting.
Okay.
Because we have an email that is directed to every board member. So we all see it and then we have to figure out who's responding. We're like, hey, did you do it?
Yeah, that's one of those things where it can be tricky. Everyone getting the email or whatever. We have that as our call system. It's like everyone gets the email saying, oh, the call went to overflow. And then you've got people who don't respond to the email to everyone, who just pick it up and just deal with it. And then you go, I'm picking this up. And it's like no one ever responds and tells everyone what they're doing. That's very cool. So it sounds like it's very, as far as your passion in it, as far as exposing you to the gaming industry that you wanted to get into and essentially getting you a job or getting you that opportunity for a job,
Did. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should apply and pitch my game. That's the Side scroll and beat 'em up dating simulator.
Hey, nice.
I've talked about this on previous shows, but my idea revolves around sort of a dating thing with meta progression where you're going through a side scroll and beat 'em up, but it's like as you're on the date, it's your internal things that you're fighting. Like not having confidence or things that you're worrying about or whatever. So it's not fighting someone, you're fighting yourself in your head.
Ooh, it gives me Psychonauts meets Boyfriend Dungeon vibes.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, Psychonauts is such a wonderful game.
Yeah.
And Psychonauts 2 also was really good. I really enjoyed Psychonauts 2. It didn't reach the level of connection as the first one for me, but do you know Tim Schafer? Is he involved?
So, yeah, actually, we've been lucky enough that Double Fine has sponsored for a few years and very kindly spoke with us and the grantees. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Very genuine person. All the interactions I've had, very nice.
Yeah, he seems like
not that we're like buddies or something, but
right.
Only good impression, I would say.
Exactly. I like all the stories and stuff I've listened to him tell about his foray into games and some of the stuff he did at LucasArts and how he got into LucasArts, which was really funny. He has a funny story about that. Whenever anything Double Fine comes out, I always check it out because it's just so great, usually. Brutal Legend, if you ever played that. It's kind of an odd game that doesn't hit with everyone, but it's got the best, hands down, the best metal soundtrack ever.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just play it just to listen to the soundtrack. So yeah, that's cool that people as recognizable as Tim Schafer are involved in these different chapters and so on.
That was with the foundation. Each chapter has different stuff. I know like Seattle used to do tons of cool things and it split off into Seattle Indies as well. So now I think they're bringing back the chapter, IGDA chapter there. I've heard rumors. Again, it's all volunteers. So someone has to be wild enough to be like, I want to do this thing.
Not wild enough. Have the initiative. We'll put that positive spin on it.
Yes. Initiative. Absolutely. The initiative. Yes.
The drive, the gumption,
There is a lot of work that goes into it.
Oh, yeah. So that goes without saying, I think, right? Something like this, organizing and fostering community and coming up with programs. But it's very beneficial to folks who want to get into the industry and give them that possibility of thinking about what they could do.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, as opposed to getting stuck in the whole, like, I would do it, but there's no way that I'll ever make it into the gaming industry or whatever. You just need to try, right?
And I say I do all these things for devious reasons, basically, because I want a nice community of game developers in San Diego. I want a nice, so I put my efforts towards those things. It's all selfish, but it's because,
Is it?
It's mutually beneficial is actually where it comes from.
I don't think it's selfish so much as because you have the interest of the community in mind.
Yes, that's true. I wouldn't do it if it was, yeah. It's not purely self. It needs to be mutually beneficial for me to do it.
Exactly. So I wouldn't call it selfish.
That's fair.
You're not a selfish person.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, I'm a mutually beneficial person. It's just so long.
That kind of brings us to the end of the show. I think we should wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate you being on the show and
thank you.
Talking about this. And I hope you had fun.
I did.
We should probably do another show on a different word one of these days coming up.
Yeah. I'm down for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, audience, for joining us on this week's episode of the Too Vague Podcast. My name is Ben.
And I'm Karen.
Have a wonderful night. Bye.
Bye, all. Thank you.